Hi Mustangs, I'm Mrs. Hudson, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about the long division algorithm. As you can see here, long division is actually repeated subtraction. It's the opposite of multiplication, which is repeated addition. So when you think of it that way, it's not so hard. Let's go over some terminology first, okay? And this is pretty important, especially when we start our decimals and long division. So first of all, 5 would be considered the divisor, and the number that you divide up is called the dividend. And finally, the quotient, it's the answer. And I like to call this the quotient bar or the answer bar. And so you write your answers up here, and we're going to do all of our work down here. Okay, and so let's go ahead and do it. I have it written up here, and let's check it out. So first of all, I'm going to always ask myself, I'm looking at the divisor, how many times does 5 fit into 8? Well, I know 5 times 2 is 10, so that's too big. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 over the quotient bar. And so 1 times 5 is 5, and I'm going to do my traditional subtraction algorithm. So 8 minus 5 is 3, and I'm going to bring down that 8. Oops. Now I have my new unit that I'm going to focus on, which is 38, and so that's the next step. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 5 fit into 38? Well, I know that 5 times 7 is 35, and so that seems to be a pretty good fit, because if I went 5 times 8, that's 40, so that's too big, so we want it to be smaller. So 5 times 7 is 35, and let's go ahead and write that down as a 35. And we're going to subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3. Now I have no other numbers to bring down, and so I'm finished with these steps for now. And so I have to address that 3, which is a remainder. And I do know that some of you are used to writing 17R3 or 17 remainder 3. However, I'm going to show you how to create a mixed number with the remainder. And so 3 will become the numerator with your new mixed number, and 5 will be the denominator. So the divisor will always be our denominator in any mixed number, and our answer is 17 3/5. Okay, so the next problem that we'll focus on actually has a divisor with 2 digits, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about using a placeholder 0 to make sure your digits are lined up. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and follow the same pattern. So we're going to ask, how many times does 40 fit into 9? Well, 40 does not fit into 9, and so this is where I place my 0. And I call this a placeholder 0 because we want to make sure that our digits are lined up nice and neat, so that when you finally get down here with your repeated subtraction and you make an error of some sort, you can find it, okay? And then it also won't get so confusing, it's all straight. So we've put our placeholder 0 in that section there, and so we're going to move to the next unit now. So now we're going to ask, how many times does 40 fit into 98? Well, I know 40 is a nice easy number, and I know that 40 times 3 is 120, and so that's going to be too big. So I'm going to go ahead and place a 2 on the answer bar or the quotient bar here. And so 2 times 40 is 80. And I'll go ahead and follow my standard subtraction algorithm. So 8 minus 0 is 8, and 9 minus 8 is 1. Now, the second step with this repeated subtraction would be to bring down this 7. And so now my new number that I need to divide is 187. And so again, since 40 is such a nice, easy number, I know that 4 times 3 is 120, and 4 times 4 is 160, and 4 times 5 is 200. So 4 times 5 won't fit in that number here. And so I'm going to go ahead and place a 4 over the 7 just to make sure our digits are nice and lined up there. And so 4 times 40 is 160. And I'm going to follow my standard subtraction algorithm rules. And so 7 minus 0 is 7, and 8 minus 6 is 2. And I see that 27 is smaller than 40, so we're good to go, okay? And again, I'm going to not use the R for remainder, but I'm going to create a mixed number. So 27 will be my numerator, and my divisor is always my denominator, which is 40. And my answer is 40, I'm sorry, is 24/27/40. And that's my answer.